Hi, my name is Michael, or you can call me MBL Designs.
I'm Patricia, also known as Tfolgirl.
And we're going to discuss Solo, a Star Wars story, and the Lego sets connected to it.
Yep.
So, first of all, what was our overall thoughts on the movie? Non-spoiler, because
Yep.
we're going to go into all of the spoilers later on.
We're gonna have a spoiler alert.
Yeah,
Sign somewhere.
spoiler alert before that, but just first off, what were your thoughts about the movie?
In short, it was a bit of a nostalgia with twists. So it was refreshing and it fits really well into the Star Wars saga.
Yeah, same for me. It was really nostalgic and not over the head and not really pandering at all. But there were a few things, really nitpicks if anything, that I didn't really like. But overall, they handled the characters well, both the original characters that we've known before and the new ones.
Yeah, it gives great backstory to our beloved characters from the original trilogy, if anything.
Yeah, and just overall, the story works really well. And yeah, that is pretty much everything we
Yeah.
can say
Without spoilers.
without giving away a lot.
Yep.
The trailers have said a lot about the movie, but don't really want to say anything because that can lead you on what the movie will actually be about. So
Yep.
that's everything we'll have to say about the movie without spoiling it. So let's get into spoiling it.
It's the spoiler zone.
Yeah, so first of all, considering that we both love Lego and my channel is mainly Lego focused and have a side bit of movie things, the accuracy of the actual Lego sets. So, I have the Lego sets here, so we will be listing them off and starting with all of the main release sets and then working down the buildable figures and also some exclusive polybags and stuff like that that will be coming out. So
Yep.
first up we have 75217 Imperial Patrol Pack, which is the new battle pack. And in my opinion, it is one of the best battle packs we've gotten
I really like it as well. It's
thus
really
far. It's really well, the minifigures work perfectly, and yeah, the accuracy to the actual movie is spot on. I can't
Yes.
really say anything, like, the only thing is the stud shooters, but Lego has to add them. There's no doubt about it. The minifigures are great. They could have really just put in the 2 new stormtroopers, and that would have been fine, but they add 2 other Imperial figures, one with a female face,
Always
which is
appreciate it.
really,
Yes.
really well, because I did see a lot more female officers in this movie than
Yeah,
I've
for
seen
sure.
in any other Star Wars movie, so that is really great. And just looking away from Star Wars for a while, that female face has like a shin strap, and that can work with like a Lego city, if you just want the character to have like a biker helmet or anything like that. So
Yep.
it's not exclusive to Star Wars either, so that's really great in my opinion. And yeah, I can't really say anything wrong with about
Yeah,
that
I
set.
remember when I saw that set first, I was thinking maybe like the build itself is a bit too small because I didn't know what it was gonna be like in
Yeah.
the movie. But then when I saw it in the movie, I was like, oh, that's the Lego set. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
I had this cool reaction like, yeah, that's it. That's it.
yeah.
It's spot on.
Yeah. Next set is 75209, Han Solo's Land Speeder.
And I actually have this right here.
Yeah, I haven't really looked at it,
Take a look.
so... Yeah, and first of all, I have to just comment, one of my favorite Lego colors is dark blue, so I'm already a fan of this set. Any Lego set that's dark blue, I am all for it. I really like the greebling on it. We both agreed on this.
That's the Corellian Hound, which I was expecting
It's-
to be a lot bigger.
Yeah, it's really, really
It's
tiny.
really tiny. It's like the
Yeah.
size of a city dog, the Lego city dogs. I
Yeah,
compared.
it's really tiny, but at the same time, it is to scale with the minifigure, so I
Yeah.
can't really argue on that. But yeah,
For the hand alone, without a minifig, it's really small.
yeah.
When I got it, I was expecting it to be like, I don't know, this big, but it's just this big.
Yeah, I thought it would be at least like 2x2 bricks
Yes.
tall, if anything. But except for that, it looks really well.
It
Doesn't
can
this
also, yeah,
open-
it opens
Oh,
like that.
like so.
So there's some stuff in
yeah,
there.
that's really nice. Yeah, just overall a really, really cool set and really, really accurate.
Yes, exactly. I
Um,
found it to be super accurate as well.
Yeah.
The size is just right.
Yeah, one minor thing that would have been cool, and I'm not a big fan of stickers, and this doesn't come with any
No,
stickers,
this doesn't have stickers.
because these are printed, and the control panels are printed as well.
Yep.
I would have liked a sticker with the dices hanging.
That
That would have been
cool.
nice. That would have been really nice.
Yes.
But it's such a minor thing.
Yeah.
But that would have been really
That
cool.
would have been awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for that set.
Yeah.
A really cool set overall.
And
Yeah.
also, it's got these small little wheels in the end, at the bottom. They aren't transparent, just this gray color, which adds to the playability because they can play the chase with.
Yeah.
They can slide and stuff.
Yeah, and doesn't it elevate it a bit over the ground or
Yes.
floor?
Yeah, it is a bit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
it is
bit.
elevated a bit.
It's a
Just
bit
right.
elevated, so
Yeah.
yeah.
And also great figures. These are.
Yeah, like
From,
Han Solo and Kira looks really nice, and their torsos are really well represented
Yes.
from that scene. And her new hairpiece is really well.
Yeah, it's like some of her hair is like stuck behind her ears almost,
Yeah.
and then the other is just hanging. It's cool.
Yeah. Next is 75210, Moloch's Land Speeder, which is also a really accurate set. And I am really surprised because Lego Star Wars hasn't really been that accurate with their movie sets, Kylo Ren Starfighter or Shuttle or whatever it's called. But these are really accurate. So Moloch's Land Speeder is really accurate. Same here, the only thing that stands out is like the stud shooters, and Lego kind of has to add that for playability.
Of course.
Because these are land speeders, they don't have weapons or anything like that, so...
Actually, wait, this can shoot. I
Yeah,
remember. From
yeah, it has
here-
spring-loaded
yes,
shooters, so...
from at the bottom
Yeah,
here.
both of them have added play features like that, but it doesn't really take away because like the coloring on Moloch's land speeder is really accurate, and yeah, the figures are great choices. Moloch looks really well and really well represented, and has the like new skirt piece that they've introduced.
With this line, right? It was this.
Yeah,
this is-
they've introduced it in with this line if I remember right. So and the other figure that I can't really remember the name of, I think it's like the Carillion Hound leader or
herder, whatever.
Yeah, herder, whatever. Really accurate as well. I would have liked two of them because we do see multiple with the same outfit. Because this is what is it? Yeah, it is a $40 set, so it is
I
quite.
found it expensive
it is
compared
really
to this one because this one is the cheaper one and that one is the.
Yeah,
more
it's
expensive
really
one.
expensive. So.
But then something that David pointed out is that this one has like almost twice the piece
Ooh,
count, so
yeah.
that could be why
Yeah,
it's
that
more expensive.
yeah, that might be the reason, and that's probably why they didn't add another figure because that would just make the price
Yeah.
even higher. So.
One cool thing in it is that it has like a place for the Carillion Hounds.
Yeah,
At
in
the
the front,
side,
so.
and I noticed that in the movie as well.
Yeah.
I noticed that on the Lego first, so when I saw it in the movie, I was like, that's where they
Yeah.
are. That's
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it just points to how accurate they all are.
Yep.
So.
Also, a cool little thing in this one is you can open it on the back and this like thing
Oh.
comes out. I don't know, it's just random.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Next one.
Next one is 7211 Imperial TIE Fighter,
Yes.
which is the first normal TIE Fighter we have gotten since I think 2011,
Yeah, it was like
2012.
6-7 years. That's why.
Yeah, something like that. So, and this is a really good step out. The wings are pretty much the same to the Force Awakens TIE Fighter, but this one reuses the new cockpit pieces that the previous TIE Fighters have used, but we haven't really gotten the original TIE Fighter with these. But except for that, the TIE Fighter is pretty much self-explanatory.
Of course.
And isn't really that groundbreaking except for, the redesign of course. But The minifigures are really good. We do get a Nimbad Stormtrooper, which is a completely new Stormtrooper variant, which is really cool. We do get a TIE Fighter. We don't know if it is Jan Smith or not, but
yes.
Hopefully it is Jan Smith.
A younger version of him, you know.
Possibly.
He's always around.
Yeah, he was at Battle of Scarif, so he might be, or he maybe had a completely other part in the Imperial forces by that point in time. But then we do get two named characters. We do get Tobias Beckett and Han Solo in Imperial uniforms, which when these sets came out, we thought they would be undercover or anything like that, but this was during the point when Han Solo was in the Imperial Army and met Tobias and joined his force. And overall, I really like the figure for Tobias. Hopefully we will be getting a normal Tobias figure, and I think we've seen and there's a leaked picture of it as well, so there are things pointing towards that. Han Solo in Imperial uniform, it's pretty much the same torso, or the same type of torso that Beckett has, but yeah, with the Han Solo head, so pretty much.
Interesting thing is, when I saw that set, like after the movie, I had to think back, like, where were the TIE Fighters? Because there wasn't like a main big TIE Fighter scene or whatever. I mean, for me, the only time that it stuck out is when there was like a ship towards the end, and then Han was just like, Han said something like, yeah, they're not gonna release an entire TIE Fighter squadron for just one fighter, but then they did.
Yeah, I thought the placing of these figures were really weird, because that's like the main TIE Fighter moment, but when they are at Nimbad, a lot of TIE Fighters are flying over them, and considering that three of the main characters in this set are ground characters, the only one that's actually in the TIE Fighter is the TIE Pilot. So this is basically taking figures for sale value, because people will rather have a Tobias Beckett and Han Solo than a lot of Imperial figures.
That's true.
And the Nimbad Stormtrooper is a really good selling point.
For sure, I wish there were more in that set.
Yeah, but I and a lot other people are probably not going to buy it just because of a Nimbad figure.
That's
sadly.
True, sadly.
But overall, the set is really good and really accurate to the actual movie. And then we have
Next one is the big one.
Yeah, 75212 Kessel Run Millennium Falcon. Which, right in the name, announced that the Kessel Run will happen. So that was announced really early on, and just the fact that they were making a Han Solo movie, it would be weird if they didn't show the Kessel Run.
Of course.
But this set comes with Han Solo, Chewie, Lando, of course, Kira, and also
a couple. It is
Kai,
a Castle Mine worker.
I'm trying to say like Koi Tolsite.
Yeah,
Called
that's a named character.
Yeah,
it's name.
Yeah, it's the one they try to negotiate with. So which we have actually seen that alien race in Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
The Pikes.
Yeah, the Pikes, exactly.
Yeah, I was always welcome to see the Pikes on screen.
Yeah, and also we do get two droids, which I feel is really weird that we got two unnamed droids.
Yeah, and there's no
and
L3. I really
no
want
L337,
yes.
which is the named droid and also Lando's co-pilot.
Yeah, and this is a Falcon set.
Yeah, and also these other droids followed her rebellion against their owners and all of that. So I thought that was really weird after seeing the movie. But all of the other characters are really well placed.
Amazing.
Lando, definitely. Nothing tops Lando in my opinion.
Of course, he's a great figure.
Yeah.
Also exclusive to this set as of now. Which
hopefully.
Expensive.
That goes with all of the variants in this set. We do get Han and Kira in the previous set, but these variants of the characters are exclusive. So all of the figures are exclusive at the moment.
I would also say these are like their main outfits.
Yeah,
like the most
much,
iconic ones. Han has the brown jacket, Lando has the yellow uniform outfit.
Yeah, and I do want to comment on Chewbacca
Yes.
because Chewbacca looks really, really weird.
He looks like he fell on his face and it
Yeah,
is...
something. I can't understand what Lego was thinking because the Force Awakens mold for Chewbacca didn't work because of the lanyards that he has, or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
They are not lanyards or anything like that. Bandoliers, that's the word.
That's the word, bandoliers.
Because he has one going right down so, and then another one. So basically two. So they couldn't use it because of that. And also, his fur looks different in Han Solo than it does in previous movie. And it's understandable because he's 10 years younger. But at the same time, it looks like Edward Scissorhands cut his hair or something like that. It looks really, really weird. Or
I asked around in the Lego community what they thought, and like some people who owned it said like they can get used to it, and they said it's ridiculous. So there's like a very mixed opinion, but it's mostly weird.
I have gotten used to it, but that doesn't change the fact that it looks weird.
Yep.
So it's really interesting to see what Lego actually thought about that redesign. But yeah, that isn't really the main point. The main point is the Millennium Falcon.
Of course.
And considering that Millennium Falcon is one of those sets who have gotten over and over and over again, both minifigure size, UCS size, and also miniature microfighters. We've got
two of them.
One
with Chewie, one with Solo.
Yeah, and we've also gotten mini models in the advent calendars and all kinds of stuff.
Tiny ones that I can. There's a polybag with this, like a tiny one, which also.
So, and this is really refreshing to me just because of the coloring and the fact that Lando's Millennium Falcon is completely different from Han Solo's. And we do see the reason why in the actual Kessel Run in the movie. But it is really nice to get the white and blue coloring and also with the escape pod connected to it. But except for that, it is pretty much the Force Awakens Millennium Falcon.
But with less trash in it, because that one's got some intentional mess inside.
Yeah.
This one is a bit more neat and it has more decoration.
Yeah.
There's like a bar.
Yeah, exactly. It has
like a, kitchen,
bar, drinking and stuff like that.
What is missing is Lando's cape room.
Yeah, that's really disappointing they didn't really include any extra capes, considering they've done similar things for like the rock concert things for Lego Friends. They've added multiple fabric pieces for capes and skirts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They could have done something similar here.
Even as a fun Easter egg or
something. Just one extra cape or something like that would have been really fun, but yeah, they probably didn't want to.
Also, I don't know about the others, but I saw this Lego set before the trailer, and what stuck out to me is the escape pod of the Falcon. And now we know where that went.
Yeah.
And that was cool because I was like kind of wondering, what's gonna happen to the escape pod? But then of course Han had to launch it. So the monster thing, I don't know what the name of that monster was.
Didn't really name it.
No, I don't think so. It was a big monster. And then
I
was following it.
I started thinking if it might have been like the space whales we've seen in Star Wars Rebels.
But like a space whale.
First when I saw the tentacles, I thought about it, but then we saw the whole thing and it basically wasn't, because it looked more like one of the sea creatures from episode 1.
Yeah, but in space.
Yeah, basically. So the next thing we have are the Brickheads, which is 41608 Han Solo.
Yep.
And then also 41609 Chewbacca. Starting with the best one, which
let's start with Han Solo.
Yeah, Han Solo is the best one out of those two.
For sure.
His hair is okay.
It's good.
I feel that he has a really big forehead.
Big forehead.
Anything, because his hair, they can't really make his hair perfectly because it folds down in front of his hair and then goes back.
I'm looking at the figure, which this is
which
the best
is much
hair
better
for him at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's new as well, kind of recent.
Yeah.
And then
exactly.
I think they were kind of trying to model this kind of hair in the Brickhead.
Yeah, and it doesn't really have the curve around the head, so we just have a really square forehead and then the hair on the side and the top, so it looks really weird.
Looks like something I would design as a beginner Brickhead maker.
Yeah, but compared to Chewbacca, it's nothing, because Chewbacca is supposed to be furry and gruffy and he's supposed to look furry and not shiny.
Yeah.
And they decided to use glossy pieces, so there's a reflection when you look at him.
Yeah.
And the rounding, I understand why they decided to use those pieces, because they can't use square pieces because it becomes blocky then, but it's very glossy, and that's like the main problem I have.
If they would have given a print on the front of him, maybe on that one tile, like some fur print or something, but there isn't any. But he has the chest printing on the
the thing I'm trying to look is from like the forehead down. It's really good because they captured the nose and the fur from his chin and stuff like that really well, but
upstairs there's some problems.
Yeah, definitely. So it's mainly just the forehead, how glossy that really is.
And it also reminds me of a hedgehog.
Yeah, that's really true actually. The next 2 and possibly 3 depending on what Lego actually did. So starting with 753 or 75535 Han Solo.
The buildable figure.
Yeah, the buildable figures.
The last buildable figure.
Yeah, and 75536, the Range Trooper, are 2 of the main. Yeah, they are the Han Solo or the Solo Star Wars story buildable figures, and they are good for what they are. The Range Trooper is probably the best out of both of them because the armor look works a lot better with buildable figures than the more humanoid characters like Han Solo.
Yeah, that's been a trend over the past.
Yeah, definitely.
Figures.
So the Range Trooper is better out of the both of them.
I forgot, does he have like a furry...
yeah, he has like a fabric piece
yeah, that's
and
a good addition.
Also furry piece skirt type of thing.
Yeah.
But both of them work really well. The Range Trooper is the best out of both.
I like the update they did with Han's jacket. They haven't done this before, like he has a color.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and the interesting thing that I realized afterwards were that they released 2 buildable figures for the Han Solo movie, which were Han Solo and the Range Trooper.
Yep.
But at the same time, they also released a Darth Maul, which really felt out of place.
A bit odd.
And they came a bit later than the Darth Vader and Boba Fett. But Darth Maul came at the same time and as the Range Trooper and Han Solo, and a lot of people didn't really comment on that.
Yeah, it was a bit like, okay, it's a bit random, but maybe because this is their last line, maybe they just want to get a Darth Maul out.
Yeah, something like that.
Making these.
Yeah, but apparently there might not be a coincidence at all. Considering that Darth Maul makes an appearance in the Han Solo movie.
It was a big reveal.
And it is basically the only spoiler you can give for the movie.
Yeah.
Because everything else is pretty much well known.
That's true.
But it is really interesting, and I do actually want to know if this was the case or not, or if it just was, yeah, we had it in the pipeline, we are cancelling this, we don't want to lose money, here it is.
Yeah.
If it was something like that or not, that depends to be seen, but I have a hard time to see this as a coincidence since Darth Maul makes a very impactful appearance in the end of the movie. Trying to think, that is all of the official sets that has been released thus far.
Yep.
There is one polybag with a TIE fighter. Nothing special. We've seen.
Just the poly TIE.
Yeah, it's...
That was the one. That was a Force Awakens TIE fighter as well in a polybag. I have that one. It's actually very cute.
Yeah.
This one is
nothing.
The same.
Yeah, nothing special. Nothing really outstanding. I do like the packaging.
Of course,
I
I
do
always
love-
keep these.
Yeah.
I have the bags.
Yeah. The next two are upcoming, and we don't really know how they will be available or something like that. And it is these stand figures they've
Should I
done
grab them?
for Star Wars. Yeah. I do have the two previous ones.
It's
right there.
these ones.
Yeah,
that
the
can
stand
connect.
figures. So we did for Rogue One we got two,
Yeah.
which were R3 M2 and the Scarif Stormtrooper Commander.
Both
I
are
think.
pretty sought after, especially the short.
Yeah, and
short
the
trooper.
main thing with these are that they are from the movie and they are completely exclusive.
Yeah.
When it comes to printing. And the same things went with The Last Jedi. We got DJ, which is very sought after and for the most part haven't really been released.
Yeah, it's like where are they?
Yeah, mainly the only place I've seen them available is in the US, and funny enough, I follow sell page on Facebook here in Sweden, and a lot of people have got a hold of it there and sold it on there, but they have probably bought multiples online and just reselling them because there haven't been any marketing for them here in Sweden, which is really surprising because
these ones were
both
actually
of these-
pretty easy to get
Yeah,
because
both
they are
of
in the
the-
Lego store.
yeah, both of these were at the Lego store, and funny enough, this R3 M2 didn't really do that well during the promotion, so they started selling it for like 50 kronor, and I bought a ton of them.
Yeah, that's
And-
I got one from
yeah,
you.
exactly,
That's where mine is
so-
from.
Yeah, and I just thought that was really surprising, and that might be the reason why they haven't released them here again in Sweden, because the promotion didn't really do anything, but
If that's the case, please reconsider.
yeah, it's really sad because they do, or they are planning to release a Han Solo Mud Trooper,
Which
completely
is
exclusive.
amazing.
Yeah, exactly,
It's really
and
cool.
also a Kessel Mine Worker. I will not post these pictures like I've done with the previous photos of the sets we're talking about, because these are leaks, and on the off chance that these will be taken down and all of that, I
Yeah.
don't want to.
Of course, we worked
Do
hard on
anything
this.
like this,
We've been
yeah.
talking for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. So I will stay away, but you can go on to any site just searching for them with no problem finding them. Yeah, but that is all of the sets. So overall, really, really accurate sets.
Yep.
And I don't really know what else to say about the sets except for that. So
They are really cool.
yeah, so.
Official drink break.
Yeah. But when it actually comes to the movie, there's like two main points people are talking about. And the first one is, do we even need this movie?
Yeah.
And my answer to that is, no, we didn't need this movie. But overall, do we ever need a Star Wars movie? No, we don't need it. But if there's a place for it, of course we're going to get it.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I commented on this a while back when one of the trailers came out. I will have the clip play right now. Do we even need this movie? And I am 100% sure that Lucasfilm has a reason for releasing this movie. We may not know it at this moment, but they have a reason for releasing this movie. And it's probably in the same lines of Rogue One, to fill in something from the original trilogy. For example, we got Rogue One, which told the story about how they got the Death Star plans. Yeah, it wasn't anything we were actually asking for, but it did fill in that information. It looks like the same thing here. We will see the story of one of the most popular Star Wars characters of all time, and we will see him meet Chewbacca, Lando, get the Millennium Falcon, and apparently we will be seeing the Kessel Run.
and I can understand them for those 3 parts. But at the same time, I have a feeling there's some bigger connection with this whole movie that we just don't really know yet.
So in that clip, as you just heard, I comment on how I feel that there is a reason why we're getting this movie. And I will talk about that a bit more later when we come down to Darth Maul, because it's mainly connected to him. But overall, there is a reason for this, and I feel that Lucasfilm has really changed their minds about the whole thing with Star Wars, because the sequel trilogy haven't really had a plan at all, because they've done the movie as they go.
Yeah.
Which is
one director and then director switch,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
And also a director switch, so there isn't a holistic... I mean, there must be some main ideas floating around.
Apparently not,
No?
because J.J. Abrams' comment before Rian Johnson did his movie that he had plans for 8 and 9, and they were completely different from what Rian Johnson
so
did.
even that is changed.
So, and that is from a direct interview with J.J. Abrams, and that is the really weird thing when it comes to this, because I would imagine Disney would take similar leadership they did with the MCU. Direct one person to take the lead like Kevin Feige have done for the MCU and said, this is what we're going to do, plan the future. Now looking, after 10 years of the MCU, and for those Star Wars fans who doesn't know what the MCU is, it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm so sure that people know what the MCU is by now, but for those who don't know,
whoever watches your channel gotta know.
Yeah,
you also
if
talk
anything.
a lot about it.
Yeah, exactly. But for those who don't know, that's what it is. But I thought they would have someone who did that, and I thought that Kathleen Kennedy would be the person to have that leadership. But she is more of a business producer than she is a creative producer. And I only have one person in my mind that would get that part for Lucasfilm, and it is Dave Filoni. Because what better person can you get for the creative advisor? And I know he has that role on different projects, but they need that overall when it comes to Star Wars, because making a movie, and if we talk about Han Solo for an example, this was something that pissed me off, which was the director change.
Yeah.
Their cause for the director change were creative differences. They don't use quote, but I will, because that is bullshit. And I've done a whole live stream talking about that, because you don't shoot a movie
and then change it.
You don't say it's creative differences 2 weeks before it's finishing shooting. That's something you have meetings about years before.
For sure.
And it is a bit sore. It is a sore topic to me, considering it's Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, two of my favorite directors. But saying, I know that they have to say it's creative differences, because if they don't, it will create stigma around the movie more than it already has. And in my opinion, Lucasfilm have basically been lying to fans, because there's something more than just creative differences. But that's nothing we will get official words on. And I'm trying to forget that whole thing, because the movie turned out really well, nonetheless. And one surprising thing is that they kept like 20% of what Phil Lord and Christopher Miller did.
Only 20?
Yeah.
Out of 100?
Yeah, so 70% is Ron Howard directed, apparently.
That's crazy.
I have one thing, and a lot of people have talked about it. There's one scene I'm 100% sure is Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, and it is the shower scene between Han and Chewie.
I was thinking about that.
That is, without a doubt, that is Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. I can't imagine Ron Howard imagining that, because his direction is completely different and more artistic than something like that, because that is more of a visual joke. And knowing Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, not only the Lego Movie, which had a lot of it, just like the 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street, had a lot of that just that type of humor overall. So that's just one scene I know is directed by them without a doubt. I would be surprised if Ron Howard did that.
Yeah, I also looked at it and I was like, oh, that's gotta be from them.
Yeah, if anything, that's from them. But overall, one thing I'm mostly impressed by is that Ron Howard managed to shoot 70% of a movie in 4 months.
It's amazing.
Or
it's
like
really
4
impressive.
6 months or something like that. It is really impressive. The positive things for him were the fact that everything was basically done on a physical perspective.
Yeah.
Because all of the sets, the cast,
That's
all of
true.
that. There were just like one cast change because one of the actors couldn't return for their part for reshoots, and then the role got to Paul Bettany, who played the
Really?
villain. I can't really remember the guy who played him in the beginning, but a really good actor, so I would have been interested to see what he would have brought to the character, because I really liked Paul Bettany in the movie.
Me too.
He
was
but
great.
yeah, but talking about the actors, the first one we should start with
Of course.
is
Alden.
which have been leading the controversy around this
Oh
movie.
yeah, I've seen so many like negative
Yeah,
videos
definitely.
about that. Like, negative thoughts.
To start with, not only the drama with the directors, but apparently he didn't really get to terms with them at all, because Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are more comedy writers and directors, if that, and they improvise a lot. Just look at the bloopers and behind the scenes for 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street. They do a lot of improvised work and lines and all of that, and all of them weren't really happy with that. And I can accept that if that's one thing, because that's connected to him overall. So I thought they would have worked that out, if anything, but apparently not, since they got fired. So, but Alden did a really good job. I don't really know if it's because of all of the bad publicity he has got, so we have all lowered our expectation than he turned out, okay?
Well,
or how it actually turned out. So.
I don't know. I didn't lower my expectations, but when I saw him in the first teaser trailer, I was like, okay, yeah, so that's Han Solo. But
Yeah.
okay. But then I watched your video actually
Yeah.
when you talked about it a lot, and that actually really changed my perspective, and I wanted to give him a second chance.
Yeah.
And then also I was telling like everyone who was arguing about it, like, yeah, let's give him a chance. He has his turn as Han Solo. He was hired for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, they don't just hire anybody for Han Solo, I guess,
Yeah.
because he's a big character. And then I watched the movie, and like he had his like really good moments that I was like, yeah, that is totally a Han Solo moment.
Yeah.
And they also gave him the dice, which was a very iconic Han Solo thing, which helped like everybody connect Alden to the Han Solo character.
Yeah.
Which was a great move from the beginning immediately. And I actually left the theater thinking, okay, so he totally deserves to be Han Solo.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was something I really commented on in one of my trailer reactions, just the fact that my view on Alden changed completely. I had big hopes from the beginning, but I didn't really see him as Han Solo. Even though I love him as an actor, he was in Hail Caesar and was really great. But overall, I wasn't really seeing him as Han Solo. But then the trailer came out, and that really changed my mind. And just the fact that they chose him for a reason, and also the fact that Phil Lord and Christopher Miller chose him.
That's true.
So I really trust their casting decision right there, and just that they saw something in him and they really captured it in the movie. When the movie actually started, I was really hesitant because it took a while for me before I actually saw him as Han Solo. It was right when he met Lady Proxima.
Yeah.
It was at that moment, because that was the time where he started being cocky and not as
that's
nice.
True.
And
that was a great.
that was
great.
that moment where when everything changed for me.
Yeah.
And because I had a really weird feeling, because with every Star Wars movie, just as the movie starts, I get like goosebumps I get excited
Yeah, of
basically.
course.
So and that didn't really happen the same way it usually happens with the Star Wars movies. For example, with the saga movies, it's when the crawl begins and all of that.
Of course.
With Rogue One, it's when the music and
the music.
like the opening.
Yeah, Rogue One was like a sudden opening because
Yeah.
it didn't have, of course, the crawl
Yeah.
text.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
still, it was the
And
awesome
just the
music.
opening with Krennic's shuttle, because they did a really good misdirect, because the triangle shape was
Yeah.
kind of a Star Destroyer shape, but then we saw it was his ship and stuff like that. So,
That was great.
but here it was completely different, because that came like, I think it was like 4 minutes in or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. But overall, Alden did a really good job and
Yes.
captured Han Solo. He didn't really capture what Harrison Ford brought to the role, but he weren't supposed to.
Yeah,
That
is
was
his
never his
version.
job.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like also what Evan McGregor does with comparing himself to the other Obi-Wan, the original Obi-Wan.
Oh, yeah,
I completely forgot. Sorry.
Yeah, Alec McGuinness.
Yeah, Alec McGuinness. Yeah, Evan McGregor always comments like it is his version of Obi-Wan and Alec's version of Obi-Wan, and I think Alden is kind of doing the same right now.
Yeah, exactly, and especially since this takes place like 7 to 10 years before A New Hope, so Han is supposed to be different, and a lot of people have said that we didn't ask for this movie, and this movie is basically a checklist for everything we
Yeah.
know, which I don't really like that saying. I understand why people are saying it, but for example, people can know me now. For example, Patricia have known me for like 2 years
Yeah,
now
2
and
years.
stuff like that. But knowing what I've gone through before, and just knowing me or experience I've had, she will know me a lot better because of the stories I've told, and people who have known me through that time will understand me much better now, and that's like the main reason. And as I said in my previous video, which I had the clip from, they did this story for a reason, which I will go into more later. But yeah, Alden was really, really great
Yes.
as Han Solo. Rest of the cast, so starting with Emilia Clarke as Kira.
Mm-hmm.
Did we get a last name for her, or?
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
It was just Kira.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah,
time.
Kira. So, I was kind of hoping she wouldn't be love interest, because that's
Me
kind
too.
of typical.
But then,
But-
bam, right in the intro.
Yeah,
was
but
Aaron.
right in the beginning they just did that right away.
Yeah.
I can't really complain, because their chemistry is really great, and Emilia Clarke is a really great actress.
Mhm.
So I can't really complain on that part, and especially their separation from each other on
Yeah,
Corellia
it
was really great.
Of course.
And just the fact that Han did everything to trying to get back to her.
For 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. So
Kept
I
her
thought that
in
was
his
really
thoughts.
nice, and even though I would have liked her to be kind of just her his friend,
Yeah,
or just
same. Like that, she was told to be like a childhood friend.
yeah, exactly. So
A bit more than that, apparently.
yeah, apparently. So I would have liked that, but at the same time, it's a nitpick.
Yeah.
All of my complaints are basically nitpicks, because they aren't that really major, if anything. But Emilia Clarke did an amazing job, and something I've been afraid of with some of the cast members is the fact that they are really recognizable celebrities. Emilia Clarke is most known for
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. The best thing with that is the fact that I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
Same, actually.
So I'm not that
Yeah.
fond of them, or well known inside of that type of story. But I do know Emilia Clarke, and she's also been in Terminator and stuff like that. So I know her face from the real world, but she's such a good actress that she really sells her role really well. And that goes for most of the other actors as well. Which leads us to probably my favorite character in
yes,
the movie,
of course.
Donald Glover as Lando. And this was a fan casting a lot of people had for years, and we thought would never happen, because Donald Glover wouldn't really take on a role like that. We didn't think he would
Yeah.
do something like that. but apparently he did, and he did an amazing job at it.
He nailed it.
And just like the description in the movie, he's really charming. So,
of course.
and that was the only direction he got from what's the name of the original Lando? Holy shit. Billy D. Williams. Blanking on names here, holy shit. But yeah, that was the only advice he got from Billy D. Williams. Because, I was about to say Childish Gambino, but Donald Glover had a lot of ideas about Lando's backstory and stuff like that. And Billy D. Williams just said, just be charming. That's all you need.
And he did it. He
did it perfectly. So,
he nailed it.
And there isn't really much else to say because he really fits the role perfectly.
Of course.
There has been rumors or speculations about the Lando movie and stuff like that. I don't really want them to do character-specific movies because I'd much rather enjoy movies based on events, and then if we see original characters or or older characters, that depends completely on the story. Like, for example, if they pitched, when they pitched, oh, we're making a young Han Solo movie, that doesn't sound interesting, but a Western-style movie with a young Han Solo sounds a lot more interesting. It's more about the tone and not necessarily the character.
Yeah. And it's also about the situation. You take a character and you put him into a situation, and that's what makes a movie.
Yeah. And that's something, if they come up with something good for Lando to do in a movie that is best for a movie, I'm all for it as long as it works, and it wouldn't be better in a comic book or something like that. Especially with Star Wars compared with like the MCU. The MCU is the movies. Kind of the TV shows, but not necessarily.
Yeah.
But with Star Wars, everything is everything. Everything is Star Wars. Everything Disney does is Star Wars. If they do a TV show about Lando, that is Lando.
Yeah, of course.
No discussion.
Same with like the Poe Dameron comics. That is Poe Dameron.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the unique thing with Star Wars, and that is the door they've opened up now with no limitations between the other medias and the movies, which we will be talking more about later. It feels like I'm hinting to something a lot bigger. Phoebe Waller as L337. Overall, I really enjoyed. A lot of comments have been made about her character.
I know. I can see why.
I can see why,
but I think like her morals really fit with the original, The New Hope, because in The New Hope, when we're in the cantina, it's like we don't serve droids here, and that ties in really well with this as like the prequel of that. Yeah,
and also because it's very easy for us to think in our world, because of course they're going to have a political message for our world, because they are a business. They want to forward their politics, if anything. Some people may not enjoy that, but that's the world we live in. The three most discussed, or the three most argued things in the world is religion, politics, and money.
Yeah, that's
true. That is basically it, and that's never going to change. It's just going to evolve, if anything. But as he said, it really works in the movie.
Yeah.
And especially if you just think of the climate in the Star Wars universe, because they basically had a battle with droids.
Of course.
Similar to what we have on like TV here in the real world. But it really works, especially since these droids are sentient. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They aren't just programmed, they know what they're doing. I wouldn't really say they are AI, but L33 is a more AI, if anything, or closer to it.
Yeah.
And like the main reason why I added her to the list is what they actually did with her at the end, connecting her to the Millennium Falcon, which adds to when R2 and C-3PO tried to communicate with the computers on the Millennium Falcon in the original trilogy. and that just adds a lot more, and possibly also adds a lot more to Lando why he cares about the Millennium Falcon.
Of course.
Um,
Like with that addition, that when she became part of the Millennium Falcon, it felt worse that Lando lost the Falcon.
Yeah.
Because beforehand I was just like, yeah, Han's gonna get the Falcon, it's gonna be awesome because it is his ship, because we know that it's his ship. But then when he actually lost it, I was more sad now than I was happy, of course, because Han and the Millennium Falcon are always associated, but as well as Lando.
Yeah.
But it was just sad.
Yeah.
Because Lando loved that droid.
Yeah, because I really liked that scene when they had landed and just came through the Castle Run and all of that. And Lando was just looking at the destroyed
Oh, I love that.
Falcon and just was really, really disappointed.
He was just so done.
And he just said to Han, I don't want to see you again.
Yeah.
And just went on, and then later on
I loved when he
took off.
disappeared. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
just
like,
took off.
Han was just counting on him, and then he just like, bye.
Yeah. I am surprised why he waited, because he looked really angry at him.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that he waited that long, but
Maybe he was just examining the damage.
yeah. I think it was mainly for comedic effect when Han went up to Enfys Nest and all of that, but that was like the main reason why I added her to the actual list, because I really like what they did with L3 because of that little I would call it an Easter egg, because not a lot of people remember that C-3PO and R2-D2 actually communicated with the computers on the Millennium Falcon and talked about how advanced or whatever they said. But then we have Woody Harrelson as Tobias Beckett, which is one of the other actors I really like, and was afraid that would be too recognizable for me to take away my power of disbelief, if anything. But he did really well, and I didn't really think about the fact that it was Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen him in any movies. At least I probably have, but I don't know like his name.
Yeah, if you haven't, I have a list. I have a list. First movie that comes to mind is like Zombieland.
Oh wait, I've seen that movie.
Yeah, he's the guy who wants Twinkies.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, now I know.
Yeah, so that's the main movie that comes to mind, but he has been in a lot of things that I can spend hours talking about, but that's not why we're here. He did a really good job overall. One thing I really liked about his character is the fact that he was very open to Han and just said, don't trust anyone, and that, as we saw later on, he should have listened, because don't trust anyone, especially when you are surrounded by smugglers and people who basically lie for a living. Don't trust anyone.
Yeah.
It's pretty self-explanatory when you're surrounded by smugglers who lie for a living. So I like their dynamic, and especially the fact that Tobias actually cared for Han, but at the same time screwed him over.
Exactly.
I was dreading one thing when he died.
Why? That was great.
I liked the fact that he died, but I was dreading that he would say something among the lines, like, always shoot first, or something among those lines, because I can agree with like that this movie has been a checklist for what is Han Solo, and what we know about Han Solo is that he shoots first.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that they actually showed it instead of saying it.
I like that too.
Because they could have just as easily said it like, yeah, it's always good to shoot first. Or,
yeah, but they didn't say anything like that.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that.
Me too.
There was one thing I forgot to mention when we talked about Han Solo and Alden, was how he got his last name.
I love that. I really like
that really bugged me.
Did it?
Yeah, I didn't see the reason why they had to came up. It's just the last name. Why couldn't he?
True.
Why couldn't he just be called Solo?
I think it's ironic because everyone through the years was joking about it. At least Like, I know, because Han Solo, because he's alone and stuff. And like,
Yeah,
now we know that it's actually the case.
Yeah.
He's Solo because he is alone.
Yeah, I haven't really seen him as Solo because we've seen him with Chewie all the
true.
time. So
I think it's more like a word joke that's going on around.
Yeah, it's something. So as I said, most of my complaints are nitpicks. Like that's like the biggest one, if anything. But continuing with Tobias Beckett, and I thought they really handled his character really well overall.
I remember when Han shot him first and then he died, and then I was like, I should feel really bad, but I was just fucking smiling because, oh my god, he shot first, it was amazing.
Yeah.
But I felt that was a guilty death to watch.
Yeah, also. So,
for me.
Yeah. Yeah, they just handled that really well, and they could have handled it a lot worse, in my opinion, so I'm really happy that they did it the right way. Then we have Jonas Sotomo, who plays Chewbacca, and this is probably my favorite version of Chewbacca thus far, because...
He was so cute!
Yeah, and just...
Innocent and cute.
Yeah, and just overall, they give him more of a character than he has ever had before.
He's always been a sidekick, and as we know, like, we don't learn as much about sidekicks generally through in movies. But then this movie really like gave him the soul that he was missing.
Yeah, exactly. And I just really enjoyed how they handled how he and Han met, because they changed that from Legends, because Han did save him from the slavery, or from slavery in Legends, but now they changed it to that he was this monster on Nimbad, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I actually didn't see that coming when Han fell into the pit and then like there was a monster. I was like, okay, just a monster, I guess. But then it was Chewbacca. Like when I saw his foot was revealed first, and I was like, oh wait, hang on for a second.
Yeah, I started thinking, okay, what monsters do I know? The first that came to mind was a Rancor, but the cage was too small.
That's true.
Or if it was a baby Rancor. That would have been cool, but
cool too,
but that was the
first.
Yeah, exactly. That was the first monster that came to mind. But then, as I said, when we saw the foot, and I think we heard the roar first.
Yeah.
That was when I immediately knew it.
I also loved how Han saved himself by speaking the kids. That was great.
Yeah, and that also clarifies that he actually knows how to speak his language.
And it it makes it valid that they trust each other, because Chewbacca would obviously trust someone who actually speaks his language better than just a random stranger.
Yeah, exactly. So I really like that dynamic, and that directly leads into their shower scene, which I just thought was really perfect. I never thought I would see a shower scene with Chewie and Han.
Star Wars does surprise us sometimes.
Yeah, and I am surprised that it's canon and not fanfiction. I'm sure there's fanfiction about it, but...
It's gonna come, just wait.
Yeah, if it doesn't already exist, it will now. But I'm surprised it's actually canon.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was really funny, and as we said before, that is completely Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, no doubt about it. Lastly is Paul Bettany as Dryden Voss.
Yeah, as you mentioned, he is a recast, sort of.
Yeah, recast. I can't really remember the actor who was supposed to play him, but it was a really good actor. I would have liked to see what he brought to the role, but nonetheless, Paul Bettany did an amazing job, and is one of the more memorable villains, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A lot better than most, or some of the villains in the prequels, if you ask me. Just because that Paul Bettany can capture that really calm persona and then twist it completely. Have you seen the Da Vinci Code?
I haven't.
He plays one of the villains in there, and his character is really twisted, and I just love the fact that he played a villain in this, because he draws similar characteristics to these characters, and I like the visual effects that his eyes turned blood red when he got aggravated, and the scars turned red as well. And that's apparently connected to his species or something like that.
Yeah, he's a new species. Right?
Yeah, because he isn't human. He's humanoid, but he isn't human. So I want to know more about his species.
Yeah, me too.
Because it looks really cool. But yeah, Paul Bettany did a really great
He
job.
was great.
And he was connected then to the organization Crimson Dawn, which we thought he was the leader for. But there was
not.
yeah, there was a comment. I think it was Kira said that everyone serves someone, and when I heard that, I started thinking, okay, who is Dryden serving?
That's a good point.
Yeah, so we'll come back to that later. But before that, do you have a favorite character?
Oh, I actually have to say it's Chewbacca. I just really liked how much of a soul he had in this movie. He was really adorable and lovable.
Yeah, I think I will. It's in between Chewbacca and Lando for sure.
Of course, Lando.
But overall, I did also like Kira just because of her bit of a twist in character, because she was loyal to Han and all of that, but at the same time she is also committed to the Crimson Dawn, which will be interesting for future discoveries connected to Crimson Dawn, because we don't really know that much. Some standout name drops that I heard from the movie was Bosk. Bosk was name dropped by one of the girl who Tobias was with. I can't remember her name.
Her name was Val.
Yeah, Val.
I didn't like her.
She said that they should have recruited Bosk, which was really
that was funny.
good.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they should have actually recruited him, because he's badass.
Maybe he was busy.
Yeah, if anything. We did get a shout out for Aura Singh that Tobias actually killed her.
Yeah.
And Lando.
Well, that's why Lando wanted to.
Yeah,
Lando
agreed because he owed money to Aura Singh, and
wonder what went wrong there.
Yeah, and he also said that Tobias pushed her off something. We don't really know. Because Lando said, "Yeah, nice, you killed her," or something like that. No, I pushed her. That's everything we got. There is apparently coming a comic book for Tobias, so that might explain the Aura Singh connection. And I like the fact that they took Aura Singh, because it isn't really a major character that people will realize, oh, holy shit, Aura Singh is dead. But for those who actually know her...
Yeah, through the Clone Wars, right?
Yeah, both the Clone Wars, and she did do an appearance in episode 1. She was one of the saboteurs of the pod race. So I really enjoyed that, and they did mention the Hutt clan, so not Jabba the Hutt specifically. Han did mention that they were going off to a big gangster or something like that in the end. I am betting that is Jabba the Hutt, because I can't really think of anything or anyone else.
It's gotta be him.
Yeah, and he is one of the biggest mob bosses in the Star Wars universe, both metaphorically and in size as well. But yeah, those were some name drops that I noticed after a first viewing, because I've only seen it once.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure there is a lot more than just that. Other notable things is like the Kessel Run was handled really well. But before the Kessel Run, I was surprised how they handled the Sabak game.
Yeah.
I thought that he would win it directly.
Exactly, same.
Yeah, and they ended the movie with it instead, which was really interesting, because we did see a more friendly side of Han and Lando's interactions by that point, even though they started off being hostile.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really funny, and that they saboteured his cheating in the game. But about the Kessel Run, I thought it was really well handled. I don't really know how to compare it with the Legends one, because I haven't really read it.
I don't know. I didn't actually know what the Kessel Run was actually.
Yeah,
I knew it was an event, but what it wasn't.
Yeah, the previous description I've had for the Kessel Run was, a lot of people thought it was a matter. He did a distance in a matter of time,
Yeah, that's
but
what I thought
it's
as well.
the opposite. It's how fast you traveled a certain distance. It's nothing connected to time in general, or something like that. I can't really remember. But the thing, a lot of people who have read about the Kessel Run and all of that likes the fact that it's still a bit unclear, because he did comment something among. He did say to some people after the Kessel Run that I did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. Shui said something, and Han said something among the lines like, yeah, that's it, yeah, it's 12 if you round down, or
Yeah,
something like that.
That's
So,
true.
and I like the fact that nobody really cared.
Yeah.
He is impressed by this because it is impressive, but nobody else cares. So
Yeah,
I think
so
that's...
he sets that reputation up for himself.
Yeah,
kind of.
exactly. And in episode 4, he actually says that he made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs,
Yeah.
and even stretches that a bit further, and still there, they didn't care.
Yeah.
So that was a bit fun. Now coming to what we've been hyping for this whole video.
The peak.
Yeah. Darth Maul is
Yes.
back.
He's back.
So...
Gotta prepare for this.
So, we find out that Akira is traveling off to meet up with... Oh,
You good?
yeah. The apparent leader of Crimson Dawn. Who went down the wrong pipe.
Out of the time, you on.
Oh, holy shit. Okay. So,
You're back.
she kills, what's his face? Dryden Voss, and promised to meet up with Han later on, but actually takes the ring and takes his ship and contacts the leader of Crimson Dawn, or Crimson Dawn. One thing I immediately thought, okay, is it the Emperor, because we just saw the hooded figure.
Yeah.
But immediately when I heard the voice, now I can't remember his name, he played Starkiller in The Force Unleashed, and he voiced Darth Maul for both
Yeah, I
Star Wars
forgot.
Rebels and Star Wars The Clone Wars. But immediately when I heard his voice was, holy shit,
Yeah.
Darth Maul. And then we see the full hologram from the side, and I immediately look at the legs, and it's robot legs.
Oh, I didn't spot that.
I immediately, when I heard that voice, I immediately just looked at the only thing I could see, which were the legs, robot legs. Then I immediately know, holy shit, Darth Maul, holy shit, Darth Maul.
Yep.
And then we see them talking, and he wants her to come to Dathomir, which
Yeah,
just
that was a big
points it
deal,
out
actually.
even more.
Yeah.
He takes off the hood, we see Darth Maul, and it's Ray Parker, the original Darth Maul. And later on, it was a bit forced. We do forced. He used force to get his lightsaber and ignited it. I thought that was a bit forced because he didn't really need to, unless
Yeah,
he really needed to kill someone at that
Yeah,
moment.
at that moment, or maybe you just
Yeah.
wanted to show power to Kira, maybe.
But
Don't
if
know.
anything, because he didn't introduce himself, they know
Yeah.
each other. If anything,
That's true.
I think that was just the moment for those who didn't connect the spots that, oh, that's Darth Maul. So
Yeah,
they connected
could
with
be.
the Force and the lightsaber. And it's the same lightsaber he used in Star Wars
Yeah.
Rebels. So, and it's rumored that, or speculated that it's Inquisitor lightsaber that
Oh,
he took.
could be.
Yeah, so because the Inquisitors went after him, if I remember right, in some comic book that I haven't
Yeah,
read.
same. I don't read the comics, unfortunately.
Yeah, I try to stay up to date with like certain characters like Darth Maul
Yeah.
and Darth Vader. There was like Sons of Dathomir, which was a comic book series which focused on what happened after the Clone Wars TV show with Darth Maul. And this would then take place because he was disconnected from the Mandalorian people and Death Watch, and then started his own, which the Son of Dathomir comic picks up on. And after that, he fell through that organization to apparently start Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
And from there, we're now here, basically. And this is where I actually think the future lies. That Han Solo was not necessarily a movie about Han Solo. Of course it was, but it was more introduction to the underworld of the Star Wars universe, because the best way to introduce it is with Han Solo.
That's true.
And now when we have a character like Kira, who has connections to Darth Maul, I doubt that we will be seeing a Han Solo sequel where he will be facing down with Darth Maul or something.
I mean, that wouldn't make sense because,
Yeah.
I mean, Darth Maul and Han Solo, that's not a showdown that you want to see,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it can't end nice.
Yeah, and also the fact that Han didn't really believe in the Force. If
Yeah.
he meets Darth Maul, why wouldn't he?
That's true.
So that wouldn't work. So I think the Han Solo movie is an introduction to the underworld of the Star Wars universe, an introduction to a character who has a connection to Han, so we care about her a lot more, and then they can continue on from there. The only question is how and where. So there are multiple movies planned in the future.
A lot of them, actually.
And some, we have episode 9, of course. We don't really know about 10, 11, and 12, the next trilogy, if there's even going to be a next trilogy.
Yeah, we don't know that yet.
Yeah, and if there's going to be a time jump, if it's going to pick up after episode 9, or how it actually is. Disney is launching their streaming service next year, which will feature original material from both Disney themselves, from Marvel, and also from Star Wars. And the only planned TV show thus far that is live action and exclusive is Jon Favreau's live action TV show that takes place 7 years after the Battle of Yavin, which is 7 years after episode 4.
Yeah.
So, for those that don't know about Battle of Yavin. But except for that, we'll have J.J. Abrams episode 9, which will be released, what is it? Next year. Yeah, next year.
Probably December, if they keep up with the December releases.
Yeah, probably.
I think December was a fine time for release. I mean, I'm happy this was released earlier, because we can be here now talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. I did like the fact that Han Solo was released during the summer, because that harkens back to when Star Wars was released in 1977, because it was a summer movie. Same goes for, I think, episode 5 and 6 as well. So that was kind of nice, but I do like the winter spot because that opens up the possibilities, and I do hope that they stay to one movie per year, if anything.
Yeah.
And maybe one movie every other year, so we don't have a movie every single year, because even though we have had a drawback in Star Wars stuff before Disney bought it, now we have a bit of an overload.
Yeah,
because,
exactly. I was gonna say overload a bit.
Yeah, because I started buying all of the books when The Force Awakens came out and all of the books were released and stuff like that. I bought them. Then I realized how much they actually released, and I couldn't hold it up anymore. So I stopped. So I mainly focus on the things that I really care about, which is certain character comics and other stuff in between, and mostly the movies and TV shows. That's like the main focus point. And I am afraid that they will go too mainstream and do a lot of different things, because not only episode 9 and possibly future trilogies connected to the saga, we have Rian Johnson's trilogy of movies, which
we don't. That's coming too.
Yeah, we don't have any clue what that will be about.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I think I want it to be about the Force in some way, shape, or form. Not how the Force started or anything like that, but a lot of people want it to be like the Old Republic, and that's not really what I want, but something in between there. And there's just a lot of question marks because we also have David Benioff and DPY's series of films, which is 2 or more, just because they haven't announced a specific number, just series of films, so 2 or more.
There's a lot coming.
Yeah, and we don't have a clue what they will be about either. And at least with Jon Favreau's TV show, we know it's going to be live action. I think he have said that it will include mostly alien characters, which would be really refreshing.
Oh, I would like that.
And take place 7 years after episode 4. And also, animation-wise, we do have one series announced, and it's more of a anime-inspired show called Star Wars Resistance, which takes place before episode 6 and 7, I think. Yeah,
it's like
before
in
episode
between,
7.
But towards episode 7,
Yeah.
because the Resistance was already made.
Yeah, exactly. Before episode 7, so... And will feature appearances from Phasma and Poe Dameron. So, and that is like the plans for the future they've announced. There are rumors about Obi-Wan movie, which they could be leading to with Darth Maul's appearance, but
that could be.
I feel for those who have followed both the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, their connection is pretty much done.
Yeah, I feel that bit too.
It would be really weird to do a movie with those two because we already know the end of it. And it was a really somber and heartfelt moment in between them. And I can't really see them topping it in any type of way. And
I don't think they need any more material.
Yeah, exactly.
They have the Clone Wars and then the Rebels.
Yeah, and also not only the very somber and heartfelt end of those two characters meeting, but also their fighting through the Clone Wars. I can't really see them adding anything to that. So there might be some plans for Darth Maul in the future. The only question is where. Comic books, TV show, movies.
It could be anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere, and that's both the positive and negative thing, because the thing a lot of fans have been curious about is when will we see very loved characters appear in movies, for example, Ahsoka, Thrawn, and this breaks down that door, because a lot of people argue that Saw Gerrera from Rogue One was the first example of that, but he wasn't. You didn't need to see the Clone Wars to understand where he came from. Yeah, it will be more understandable. You will know the fact that he had a sister and all of that, and it gives a lot more, but you didn't need to know that because they didn't explain anything about him in the movie that you really needed to care about that. But on the other hand, you have to know what happened to Darth Maul to even understand why he's still out there. And that's really interesting because they can really do whatever they want now.
Yeah, that's true.
And the future, just on that point, and that's like the only thing I can really talk about in depth when it comes to the Han Solo movie, is just their plans of using Darth Maul and just the idea of introducing well-known and beloved characters from other medias into the movies.
Yeah.
So that's just the biggest standout from this whole movie, which is ironic that the biggest standout thing in a Han Solo movie is Darth Maul. Or not even Darth, because just Maul. Yeah. That's like the only question that keeps going on in my mind. What are they going to do? Because he is probably one of my favorite characters. Funny enough, all of the villains.
Yeah, you like Kylo, you like Darth Vader.
Yeah, if anything...
I'm sitting with a Sith.
Yeah, I do have both lightsabers on the wall behind here, so... but if anything, like... all of them have things in common, which is the fact that it's a bit of split personality. They have good in them, especially to that's something I've realized recently with like Darth Maul, like his last battle with Obi-Wan in Star Wars Rebels. It was really there. I really opened my eyes for that character, and now even more with his appearance. Same goes with Kylo Ren and Darth Vader. But I'm definitely a Sith, if anything.
I can see that.
Not really on the ideals, but they are really cool. That's my argument, if anything.
I mean, seeing a villain with a soul is something that you enjoy seeing. Like,
Yeah.
everybody. I mean,
Yeah,
for me, Bucky Barnes is that. He's not really. I mean, I don't know where he stands right now, but
he's a hero.
he's
That's
a hero.
pretty much.
Yeah, but
He's
it
a
wasn't
brainwashed hero.
A brainwashed hero, yeah.
There's
precious.
I don't know who said it, but there's like a saying, a hero is only as good as its villain, and that's like, for example, the standout superheroes through all time is like the three main ones is Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. All of them have very iconic villains.
Yeah.
And if someone said Spider-Man, most people could say his main villain, Green Goblin.
Of
Same
course.
goes with Batman, Joker, Lex Luthor, and Superman. Same there. And that's something I feel really goes with Star Wars as well, if anything. Yeah, that is pretty much everything.
Yeah, the list
Yeah.
is complete.
1 hour later. So
1
if-
hour 18 minutes.
Yeah,
later.
1 hour and... Oh, wait. 1 hour and 19 minutes
minutes
later.
later.
So, overall, that was our thoughts on the movie. And
lot of thoughts.
Yeah, the Lego sets connected to it. And yeah, if you've seen all of this, thank you for
Thank you.
spending an hour plus.
Almost 20 minutes.
Yeah, if
around that.
anything. So, thank you for spending your time watching this.
Yep.
If you like this type of thing, probably not as long.
Yeah, a bit shorter.
Yeah, if anything, but considering we're both really big Star Wars fans, I thought this was necessary. And since it's the first movie discussion with MBL Designs and Tfolgirl, I think this was necessary for the first episode.
It's a long intro.
Yeah, if anything. So, if you like this type of thing, please tell us in comments, and we'll see if this is something that you might want to see more of.
Yep.
So, yeah. Please rate, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for watching.
Goodbye.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and also follow me on my social media. I have a link to all of those down below in the description. So see you next time, guys.